are we? Afternoon, everybody. We're not quite 4 o'clock yet. I don't know whether I'm looking less or more dapper today. Shirt, tie, round neck jumper. Not sure if that's in the rules, is it? Round neck jumpers. I think in the sixth form we used to say that if you had a shirt and tie, it had to be a V-neck so that you could see the tie. So a bit like that, that's how I'd kind of prefer it. But I had a bit of a rebellion from some of the sixth formers who like round neck jumpers and the unfairness of boys having to wear round necks because they wear ties, and girls not having to wear ties and therefore could get away with round neck jumpers. But then equally, I'm sure in this day and age, we all pretty much just wear what we feel comfortable in, whether it's skirts, trousers, ties, no ties, round necks, V-necks. I think round necks and V-necks are the least of our worries, but I'm kind of breaking my own rules. So here we are, we've got the sports quiz. Has to be a bow tie if you're going to run a quiz. I think, Tessa, I think you're probably right there. I think I probably ought to smarten up a bit more. So I've been doing lots of meetings today and some video and some telephone and some staff and some kind of people from outside of school. So I've kind of been in this halfway house of I've got a tie on, but I'm not really showing it anyway. So I hope you'll forgive me for how I'm attired for this quiz. Let's just get the video. There we go. So we can kind of relax. I kind of sit in the easy chair for the quizzes. I don't know why. I feel like it's more at home than sitting in the kind of hard chair at the desk for the kind of daily videos. But I hope you enjoyed the videos this week on sport. It's gone 4, so we're going to kick off. Tessa's in. If anybody else is in, let me know. Hopefully you can all hear me. And we're going to kick off with the first. I've got fewer questions, so it's going to be a shorter quiz. That's why I've got time to kind of ramble kind of at the beginning here. And hopefully there'll be questions that people will be familiar with. So as ever, jot down your own answers. I'll give you the answers at the end. You keep your own scores, and you just tell me how you got on. I know a few people. I've got to just grab my phone. Hello, Mr. C. Good to see you. Because I know a few people last week kind of missed out. They were sending stuff on my phone and I wasn't looking at it. So bear with me 1 sec. There we go. So anybody messages me now, I've got that. Hopefully nothing happened while I was away. Right. Okay, here we go. So round 1, it's about the Olympics. We had a bit of an Olympic theme this week with sports. There were some Olympic things in there. And as ever, the questions get harder as we go on. So question 1, where were the 2020 Olympics due to be held? Tessa's got mums helping, but not much. I think you'll be all right with this one. I think a bit of general knowledge will be okay on this one. Where were they? Where were they? Hi, Nelson. Hi. You're time for question 1. Where were the 2020 Olympics due to be held? Which city? Okay, I need the city, not just the country. Kia, don't put the answers out there. Kia, you write down the answers. I'll give them to you at the end. You keep your own scores. Don't tell everyone the answers. And plus, Japan isn't right because that's a country. I need the city. But Kia, lovely to see you. Lovely to see that you stopped running long enough to join in the quiz. I think sports quiz is probably right up your alley. So I've got quite a few of you involved now, which is great. Question 2. Which country, so the country not seen there, would have hosted the ancient Olympic Games? Okay, so number 1 is which city would have hosted 2020? Question 2, which country would have hosted the ancient Olympic Games? Question 3, which athlete won the most medals ever, or has won the most medals ever at the Olympic Games? Mr. Lavery. Yeah, quite right too. Thank you, Mr. Lavery. Okay, and a bonus point if you can name how many medals. I don't want the split of bronze, silver, gold, but if you can name the number of medals. Okay. Question 4. How many Olympic golds did the United Kingdom, or GB, win on Super Saturday in London 2012? That's the 4th of August. Kia has now deleted her message. Don't worry, it didn't give a lot away at all. No, don't worry about it. So how many did we win? And it's probably more than you realise. Question 5 in this little introductory section. When women were first allowed to participate in the Olympics in 1900, wow, They were limited to a certain number of sports. How many? And if you can name any one of them, there'll be a bonus. Okay, but only one. So a quick run through. Where were the 2020 Olympics due to be held? Which country hosted the ancient Olympics? Which athlete has won the most Olympic medals ever? A bonus if you can name the number. How many did GB win on Super Saturday in 2012? 4th of August 2012. And when women were first allowed to enter the Olympics in 1900, how many competitions were they allowed to enter into? And a bonus if you can name any of those areas. Okay, everyone ready? Okay, if you haven't, there's no cheating now. I'm just going to give a few seconds, but if I start giving the answers, you can't keep writing down, okay? I'm going to have to insist on, I did a quiz with friends last night, and I had to insist on them photographing their answers and sending them in to me to kind of lock in their answers. This is how bad my friends are at cheating. They were kind of phones, laptops, looking things up. It was a hard quiz, to be fair. It was a very hard quiz, and it was all done with various bits and pieces of video and memory and kind of stuff like that. But nevertheless, I had to lock in their answers. Here we go. Question 1, it was Tokyo. So Kia, you wouldn't have got anything for Japan. It was Tokyo. The ancient Olympics were Greece. The athlete who's won the most medals at the Olympics ever is Michael Phelps. And the bonus there, and don't worry about how you spell Phelps, Phelps, but if you spelled it slightly differently, as long as you know you meant Michael Phelps, I'll give you that. And the total medals, 28. Okay, in the pool, a very famous American swimmer. The UK won 6 golds on Super Saturday because there were 2 in the rowing, and there was also cycling, heptathlon, long jump, 10,000 meters. So we all know about the long jump, the 10,000 meters, the heptathlon, but there was also a cycling gold and 2 rowing golds on the same day. And question 5, the women were allowed to participate in 1900 in 3 events only. Nothing for being close. If you said 1, 10, 5, it's only 3. But you might get a bonus for picking up any one of the events. And the 3 events were tennis, sailing, and golf. Okay. So now you've got to send through your scores, just so we kind of see where you are. So if you're participating, you haven't been anything, all you got to do is say, how many did you get out of 6? And don't worry if you got 0. You wouldn't have done. You'd got at least 1. Okay. But it's all about just knowing what the rankings are, and then we top them up each round. So just mark yourself out of 6 and ping through a little comment to say how many you got out of 6. And I'm going to check see if anybody's come through on the email with their answers, because some guys don't kind of tune in but don't comment. Here we go. Yeah, I've got some answers coming in. I've got a 3 out of 6. I've got a 4 out of 6. How are we doing? Fitzgerald's 4. Good. Miss Crowhill 4. Gemma's 4 out of 7. Now, Gemma, I know you like to include the bonuses, don't you? So, but it's 4 out of 6. A bonus is a bonus. Nelson 3. Tessa 2. Mr. Lavery 4. Okay. And the Mills is thank you very much. New subscribers today. Mr. Mills, so well done. Ms. Williams 2, Barks 4. Okay, so 4 seems to be kind of a good score for that round, which is kind of about right. The idea is that they get harder, so you should get the first 2 or 3. Kia 2. What did you give yourself a mark for Japan, Kia? I hope not. I hope you got Tokyo. Okay, brilliant. So let's go round 2 and see what we can do. What sport do they compete in? Okay. Fergus 4, good score, Fergus. So 4 out of 6 seems to be, or 4 out of 7 as Gemma calls it, seems to be the kind of top score this round. So anybody who got 2 or 3 is still in it. Okay. So Brownlee brothers, which sport? Question 2. Don't forget these earlier ones are the easier ones. So you kind of go, oh, we know that. Of course you do. Roger Bannister was the first person to run a mile in under what time? He was the infamously or famously known for running a mile in just under how many minutes? That's question 2. Question 3. How old was Ellie Simmonds when she won her first 2 medals at the Beijing Olympics? How old was Ellie Simmonds when she won her first medals at Beijing? Question 4, debatable whether this person's actually a hero or an icon, but he's quite famous. I think that's the point. who scored what was considered to be the goal of the decade in the 1990s, when he scored in 1996 from behind the halfway line against Wimbledon. And I'd like to include this because this was a goal against Wimbledon. He also scored a really good goal against Crystal Palace as well, just wasn't as famous. So who scored the goal of the decade in the 1990s when he scored from behind the halfway line against Wimbledon in 96? It's question 4. And question 5. Rounded to the nearest minute, how quickly does Mo Farah run 5K? Rounded to the nearest minute, how quickly does Mo Farah run 5K? Okay. And it's not the world record, okay? And we don't need details of nanoseconds. Just kind of, you just need to roughly know how quickly a 5K is run and think that Mo Farah is probably at the upper end of that, given he's a kind of Olympic world champion at that distance, or has been. Okay, everybody ready? Just give you a second again, just to make sure you got your answers locked in. If anybody wants to photograph them and send them in, or send them to each other, but I trust you all. You like your KGS family. These aren't like my friends, these reprobates who exist outside of the KGS fraternity. Most of them are headmasters in other schools, normally, strangely, in primary schools, so they should be even more trustworthy. But I'm gonna go. Can I repeat number 1? Gemma, thank you for reminding me. I ought to ask you, any you need repeating, just say. The Brownlee brothers are famous for competing in which sport? They both compete in the same sport. Often, strangely, whenever I've seen them, they often take kind of first and third. I rarely see them finish first and second, or completely out of the running. For some reason, it always seems to be one wins it and the other one comes third. There's always somebody who gets in between them. I think they should probably try and work on that. I think that's an ambition for them. Any more need repeated? Okay. Here we go with the answers then. Hopefully, Gemma, you heard number 1 this time and have got an answer for me. Okay. The answer to number 1, the Brownlee brothers compete, unless anybody goes, wait. I'm just looking at the comments in case suddenly there's kind of like, oh, not just yet. Okay, but if you don't speak now, forever hold your peace. The Brownlee brothers are triathletes. They compete in triathlon. Question 2, Roger Bannister famously ran the mile in just under 4 minutes. That's what we're looking for, is 4 minutes. First person ever to do so. Ellie Simmonds was 13 when she won her first medals in Beijing. The person that scored the goal from the halfway line against Wimbledon was David Beckham in 1996. And to the nearest minute, Mo Farah runs 5K in 13 minutes. And I thought I'd include that because with everybody kind of engaging in small runs at the moment, kind of 5Ks and couch to 5Ks, or doing 2K at a time, or maybe 10K, who knows. But a park run is 5K these days. Imagine running that in 13 minutes. I've got some work to do. I'd be lucky if I made 26 minutes. But that's a bit slow, but maybe I just am. It's the knees, it's the knees. So here we go. So lock in your scores, and they can either send me your scores for this round if it was a good one. So if you got 5 out of 5, send that in. If you want to tot your scores up together, that's fine. So Fergus got 4 again. So Fergus, you want 8? That's a really good score, by the way. Where else are we? Anybody else want to kind of declare and compete? The Fitzgeralds too. Okay, but what does that put you on with the first round? That gives you 4, 6. Okay, you're still in it because you had a good first round score. Gemma 2 again. Gemma's saying it is out of 7. Gemma's just correcting me. She does that all the time. There were 2 bonus points, she said. Gemma just basically keeps me on track with how many points are available. At the end, Gemma wins because she tells us how many points there were in the competition. I just kind of make it up as I go along. Miss Williams, what a comeback. 4. Mr. Crowhill going steady. He had a 4 and a 3. Tessa's got 3 now, so they got 1 that round. So Tessa's prediction coming true. Kia with a comeback with 4 that round. Okay, it's nip and tuck. Nelson only 2 this round, some near misses. This is nip and tuck. This is quite close. I think who's out in front? I think 8 is our top score at the moment. So let's go with round 3. Now this you should all get. This is KGS sport. This is KGS athletes, and I'm going to start really easy for you. Alumnus James Cracknell is famous for which sport? There you go. There's a point for everyone in there, right? That's question 1. Alumnus James Cracknell famous for which sport? Question 2. Another alumnus, Richard Dodds, was captain of the GB gold medal winning hockey team but in which year? I was going to give the name of the Olympics, but actually I might give it away. In which year? Okay, Richard Dodds, or Dr. Dodds, as I think we probably say, unless he's a consultant, is he Mr. Dodds? Was captain of the gold medal winning hockey team in which year? Which Olympic year? Okay, it's number 2. Question 3. In what type of boat or rowing competition, what was the classification of alumni Sophie Hosking's gold medal winning performance in 2012? So clearly it was women's because they don't have mixed rowing. But what classification was it? And there's 2 parts to this. So I'll give you, I'm not sure, half a mark for each or 1 mark for each part. I don't know. I'm going to confuse Gemma here if I say, I need to be clear. I'm going to say half a mark for each part. So you can get half marks if you get half of it. Okay, Tessa, good point. I'm going to repeat this. Alumnus Sophie Hosking won gold medal in the 2012 London 2012 Olympics in rowing. But what was the classification? Okay, was she in what kind of boat was she in? They have 8s and quads and 4s and pairs and doubles, and so. But what was the boat she was in? Okay, there's something else to it as well. There's a classification around. Let's call it the weight. Okay. Question 4. Which 2 members of KGS staff, current staff, are GB Olympians and therefore have the post-nominal OLY after their name? Very jealous indeed. It's like people that have got Oxford and Cambridge Blues. I'm thinking, no, it's different actually, it's different. There are people with Oxford and Cambridge Blues who I think, some of them are phenomenal sportsmen who've gone on to achieve great things. Think Michael Atherton, the cricketer. There are others who I know personally and thinking, if you got a blue, I could have got a blue. And I nearly did playing football when I did my PGC at Oxford, but unfortunately I was injured and didn't get the kind of second half of the season, which would have led to me kind of playing in the game that gets you the blue. But yeah, I wasn't that fussed at the time, and some friends of mine did. But I think, if you got a blue, I could have got a blue. Olympians, they're in a different class. So our 2 members of staff that have got OLY after their name deserve that and deserve to be heralded for doing so. But which 2 members of staff are they? Question 5. One of our most famous sportsmen and Olympians is the man who is Stanley House is named after, Stanley Shoveller. But he only made 35 international appearances. There were 23 games. You'd heard from my videos he couldn't appear in because his job as a stockbroker didn't allow him to go and play. Unbelievable. He won 2 Olympic golds. But in his 35 appearances, how many goals did he score? That's a toughie. I'll give you that within 3. Okay, how's that? It's generosity. Okay, so if you get within 3, I'll give you the point for that. Therefore, if you nail it, if you're nailed on, I'll give you 2 points. Oh, it's going to play havoc with Gemma. It's going to be, 2 points if you get it exactly, 1 point if you get it close. What is his name again? He's Stanley Shoveller. So Stanley House. And you can't blame Stanley House. They said, look, we want to be named after this guy, and we want the silver and black colours and all that kind of stuff going on, and we want the stag as our emblem. But can we be named Stanley rather than Shoveller? I don't know what the connotation is with Shoveller, but I can understand that Stanley's a slightly stronger name. So Stanley Shoveller, 35 appearances for England hockey, GB hockey, England hockey. It was England at that time. 2 gold medals, 1908 and 1920. How many goals did he score? Bit of a clue. He got 17 hat tricks. So there's a start. That gives you a kind of ballpark to work in. Okay. If you got 17 hat tricks, it's going to be more than. Okay. Ready for the answers? All locked in? Anybody want anything repeated? Okay, here we go. James Cracknell, his sport is rowing. You all knew that, right? Okay, that's one. That's a gimme for everyone. unless somebody went kind of running, because he does all those desert runs and strange other things that he does. What an endurance, what an athlete. But rowing is his sport. Alumni Richard Dodds captained the GB gold medal winning side in 1988. He won a bronze in the previous Olympics in 84. He won a gold in 88. Sophie Hosking, half marks here. It was lightweight and doubles. Double sculls. Lightweight you should have picked up from my video, but on reflection on watching my video, I think I said pairs rather than doubles. But you would have known that, right? So, you know, if everyone loses half a mark there, we all lose it together in good faith. Okay, lightweight doubles. Which two members of KGS staff are Olympians, GB Olympians? Mr. Daly and Mr. Simmons. Both got OLY after their name. Do you get an extra point for Seoul? No, Nelson, you don't, because I think if you got 1988, you'd know it was Seoul. That's quite a famous kind of Olympics, and I didn't say Seoul because I might have given it away. So there's no bonuses. But thank you for asking. It's worth checking. Sometimes I do just feel generous and go, yeah, why not? I'll tell you what, Nelson, if you don't win at the end, give yourself an extra point, because I'll just boost your score average week by week. But if it's kind of nip and tuck between winning and losing, I can't give you that extra point for something that wasn't a question. But maybe you can add it on at the end. Okay. And question 5, Stanley Shoveler, in 35 appearances in England international hockey, got 79 goals. So that means you're 1 point for 76, 77, 78, or 1 point for 80, 81, 82. Okay, but you get 2 points if you got 79 bang on. Okay, scores on the doors, people. I would say we're at 15 because I've asked 15 questions, but Gemma's going to tell me exactly how many we are out of. She's probably going to say, like, you've asked 15 questions, but it's now out of 312 with all these bonuses you keep adding on. So, Gemma, I'm relying on you to tell me what it's actually out of so far. How many points for the teachers? Oh, good question from the Fitzgeralds. Now, that was 1 point, half for each. Because fingers crossed you did know both of those. But if you did only know one, I'll still give you a half. That's probably really disappointed some people that thought, wow, I knew both of those. That should have been 2 points. Best scoring round so far for Tessa. Well done. 6 out of 15. I think, yeah, brilliant. 3 thanks to a lucky guess. Was that on the staff, Fergus? Did you have a lucky guess that Mr. Simmons or was 1988 a lucky guess? Kia 3. Nelson 8.5. A bit like the Cracknell one for you. You should know that. I'm amazed there weren't more 5s out of 5s for that round. Anybody get 79 goals exactly? Anyone get 2 points for that? You'd have got that if you'd have watched my video this morning. I bet you all watched it, but I just speak so quickly and include so much, it's difficult to keep up. Gemma hasn't told me how many it's out of so far. She's still probably trying to calculate it. She's probably still thinking, stop adding bonuses. You do my head in. But let's move on to round 4, because I promised this week would be shorter. Okay. This is more about sporting rules or terminology. Barker's 12.5. That's good. That's a good score so far. I think that's probably the leading score out of those that have posted. I've had an 8.5, a 9.5, 12.5. I haven't heard yet from Kia in terms of totals, or from Gemma. So 12.5 Barkers, that means you're in front, but I suspect there may be at least one family group that's just pipping you. Don't know yet. If I don't get told, then you'll win by virtue of telling me. Okay, so sports rules and terminology. Here we go. Question 1. We all know that in an ice hockey match, Kia's got 9 overall, Gemma's got 9 overall. Gemma, how many is it out of? I'm going to give you a bonus for keeping score. We all know that in ice hockey matches that sometimes you can get a lot of players on the ice, particularly when there's a scuffle. Should we call it a scuffle? I like the fact that the referees or umpires don't actually intervene until the scuffle's finished. They're like, there's no way I'm getting involved in the middle of that. And often there's lots more players on the ice when they're changing. They're constantly rotating. But officially, how many players should be on the ice at any one time for a team? So not total, but for any one team, how many players should they have on the ice at any one time? Okay, so that's question 1 in that round. Question two. Oh, sorry, this is an optional question. Sorry, I'm cheating at this. So, okay, here you go. At any one time, should hockey players, ice hockey this is, have 11 on the ice at any one time, 9 on the ice, or 6 on the ice? Is it 11, 9, or 6? I don't know why this did. I think probably last week I thought I needed some multiple guess kind of questions. Sorry, multiple choice. I always used to call them multiple guess, and I think that's probably still true. Okay, question 2. How long is a game of basketball? Not how long, it lasts for hours, but actually how long should the actual game be? Is it 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or 60 minutes? Gemma, it's out of 19 so far. Thank you, Gemma. So it should have been out of 15 with all my bonuses. It's actually now out of 19. Okay, so how long is a game of basketball in terms of play time? 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or 60 minutes? Question 3. How long is a netball player allowed to hold on to the ball before they have to pass? 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or 7 seconds? I mean, all of those go quite quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4. How long before they have to pass? Question 4. In 10-pin bowling, if you get 3 strikes in a row, is that called a chicken, a gutter, or a turkey? 10-pin bowling, 3 strikes in a row, a chicken, a gutter, or a turkey? A, B, or C? I did think about including a question or two about crown green bowling. There's some very famous, Bryant, you remember Bryant with the pipe? Okay, and there's some very famous shots recently, and things like curling as well. Brilliant sports, but I thought they might be much lesser known. So maybe best avoided for a general quiz. Finally, in this round, question 5. What's the golf term for scoring 3 shots under par on a hole? Is it a bogey? Is it an eagle? Or is it an albatross? 3 shots under par on one hole. So it's a par 5 and you sink the putt in 2, or par 4 and it goes in 1. Is that an eagle, a bogey, or an albatross? I think I've just said those in a different order, so I won't go A, B, or C on those. Okay. Anybody need anything repeated? Because the next round is the last one. So this is the penultimate round. Any questions need repeating? Hopefully lots of choice in there. And by the way, if I'm going too quick, just type in comment, you're going too quick. And if I'm going kind of too slowly, say speed up. Am I sure about the basketball options? I think so, James. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or 60 minutes? Maybe when I'll check my phone. I did do this, by the way, sitting down with my daughters, and they gave me a bit of help. Not that I'm going to blame them if this is wrong. Okay, right. So if you're watching the NBA, yeah, it's slightly longer. Okay. If you're watching FIBA, okay, now, but so basically, if I've watched any basketball, it tends to be kind of European. So let's say that if you're thinking NBA, you need to round it to the nearest of those numbers I've given you, which were 30, 40, and 60. Hopefully that's enough of a clue. But if you put the NBA amount and say, actually, it's this, I'll give it to you because I know what that is too. Okay. All right. So Max is telling me something different. Same point here on basketball. Okay. So yeah. So an NBA game lasts for a period of time that's in between 2 of those options. So you can either round it to the nearest of those options or just put what you know the NBA amount is, and I'll give it to you. Okay. So sorry, that was my fault for going with, probably the less obvious one. And for not checking. And it's not my daughter's fault, even though I was sitting with them doing this, because I'm thinking, I've got an 18-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I've also got Mrs. Legg. So we've got a range of ages. I said, would you guys get this? And if they're getting at least half between them as a bit of a team, as a challenge, I'm thinking then we're doing okay. If they're getting half, then you guys should all get at least half. Okay, let's go through the answers then. Are we happy with that? Anybody want anything repeated? Okay, I've mumbled on long enough. I'm going to get a comment in a minute saying get on with it. Okay, so ice hockey players on the ice at any one time for one team is 6. This is one where some people say it's normally, I think it's 5, but don't forget the goalkeeper or the goaltender. But it's 6. Having 9 or 11 aside in ice hockey, that would be carnage, aside from the usual carnage. So hopefully that was an easy one. 6 was hopefully something you all got. Now, basketball, it's 40 minutes. FIBA rules is 40 minutes. NBA is 48. So if you rounded it to 40, because you took on board the instructions, if you put NBA 48, that's fine too. But it's not 30, it's not 60. So you can have 40 or 48 as the correct answer. And if you went for something in between and said, oh, maybe 40 is not right, and I think it's 44, that's fine. If you're in that 40-minute area, that's my confusion. Take a point for that. Netball. 3 seconds is how long you're allowed to hold on to the ball before you have to pass or shoot, for that matter. 10-pin bowling. It's not a gutter. It's not a chicken. 3 strikes in a row is a turkey. And finally, 3 under par. So 1 under par is a birdie. Didn't give you that as an option. A bogey is 1 over par. And then if you go 2 over, it's double bogey. 3 over, triple bogey. Blah, blah, blah. An eagle is 2 under. So an albatross, one of the most unlikely scores ever, is 3 under. 3 under par on a hole is an albatross. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense. Before we go into the last round, give me the scores on the doors. Give me your cumulative scores. I think they were all 1 each. So Gemma told me we're out of 19 at the moment. So that would make it, give me your scores out of 24. So Kia got 5, so she is on 14 total. I make that. And Kia, you on your own, or you got some help there? I need to know that, is Mrs. Murray in the room, being a sports teacher. I need to know if she's there, and whether your 14 out of 24 so far is with or without the help of Mrs. M. Mr. Crowhill got 5 out of 5. Top jolly. Congratulations, Mr. C. And what does that bring your total up to? Nelson, 12.5 in total. That's a good score. The Fitzgerald's up to 13.5 and the lead. Fergus got another 4. 4 seems to be a kind of good average. James Milnes up to 13.5. Gemma up to 13. Tessa got 5 out of 5. I think that's your best round ever, isn't it, Tessa? Congrats. And thank you for first comment this morning on the video as well. Like it. First person to say, hi, sir, and how are you? I'm very well, thanks, Tessa. Great to see you. Fergus up to 15 now. So, Fergus, I think you're out in front. Kia says, my parents are helping every now and again. What, you mean they're just drifting in and out of this, Kia? You mean they haven't kind of stopped the world and stopped their lives to sit down and do this quiz? Tell Mrs. M, Amiva, Mr. M, to kind of get their priorities straight, This is kind of, this is where it's at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Mr. Crowhill is winning 16.5 total so far. Mr. Lavery hasn't come back, so we don't know whether he was his score was slightly embarrassing or maybe just saving himself for the end. I've just noticed my tie is kind of getting rucked up in my jumper there, giving me a kind of slightly strict, looks like I'm kind of a Alan Partridge kind of sports commentator. And if you don't know Alan Partridge, do have a look. It might make you chuckle. So here we go. Last round, and this is about US sport. Here we go. For 1 mark, easy entry. What is the final championship game of the NFL league season known as? What do they call that final game of the NFL season? Question 2. Which of the following is not an official NFL team? Is it the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions, the Pittsburgh Predators, the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Seattle Seahawks? Oh, the Barkers are on 17.5 points. Sorry, Mr. C, I had you out in front. Fergus up to 15. We've got a kind of a 1-2-3 going on here. So we've got the Barkers up to 17.5, Mr. Crowhill on 16.5, and then Fergus on 15. I think they're the leading scorers. Miss Williams up to 12. Got the Milnes up to 13.5, Gemma 13. Gemma, I thought you'd do better. Are you on your own? Has Rob got involved in this? Any of the fam, or are you doing this? I think it depends very much on who you've got in the team. And are you on your own, or have you got people around? I think if you're getting good scores of kind of around 15 or more on your own, you're doing really well. If you're getting scores of less than 15 and you're not on your own, then maybe this wasn't your week. And anything above 15, I think is a really good score for anyone. So 17.5, that deserves to be leading at this stage. So who was it? Was it the Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions, Pittsburgh Predators, Las Vegas Raiders, or Seattle Seahawks? Wow, I'm glad I kept my teeth in for that one. Question 3. What is the surname of the famous baseball player nicknamed Babe, whose career became exceptionally successful in the 1920s when he joined the New York Yankees? What's the surname of the famous baseball player who was nicknamed Babe, who joined the New York Yankees in the 20s? Had a phenomenal career. Question 4. They get tougher as you go on, you know this. We all know a famous form of motor racing in America is NASCAR. In fact, recently when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, it wasn't open, but I was able to wander around the outside of the NASCAR museum. Or maybe it's one of the NASCAR. I thought it was the kind of great place, great cars. What does NASCAR stand for? Wow, that's when everyone goes, what does NASCAR stand for? I don't know. I think even if you watch NASCAR racing, you might not know that. So what am I going to say? There's 6 letters in that acronym. I'm going to give 1 mark for every 2 words that are correct. So there's possible 3 marks in there for that one. Here we go. And question 5. Which NBA star has a signature celebration that's called the silencer? So he has lots of signature moves in terms of how he finishes, dunks and layups and da-da-da-da-da. But his signature celebration is the silencer. It's very similar to a Crystal Palace player, Christian Benteke. But I can tell you that this NBA star gets to perform it a lot more than Christian Benteke does. It goes something along the lines of like it's kind of a bit of a theatrical performance, but it's known as the silencer. Which NBA star has that as his signature celebration move? Okay, anyone need anything repeated? So this round's going to be out of 7, bearing in mind the NASCAR question. So I think, what did Gemma say we were up to last time? She said, got my comments from Gemma up there. I think, did you say it was at 17 or 19 so far? Then we had 5, was it 24? So 7 here. So it's going to be out of 31. Let's call it out of 30. So again, if you've already got over 15, you're over halfway. That's hugely respectable. Anything kind of getting up towards 20 is a really good score. Repeating before I go to the answers. Everyone happy? You probably kind of, I know it or I don't know it. Here we go. Okay, the final championship game of the NFL is the Super Bowl. So that's what, again, 1 mark for everybody. I love giving out the quiz. It's like, although I hate it in return. I know when other people do this and someone's sitting there and goes, oh, of course it is. I didn't know that. So if you've missed out on any of the 1 mark questions and I'm sitting there going, oh, it's easy, that's the gimme. I'm sorry. Okay. It's meant to be easy. It's meant to be, not misleading. Question 2. Now, I was quite interested in this because I obviously know what is now the Las Vegas Raiders as the Oakland Raiders. And in fact, when I started watching the NFL, they were the Los Angeles Raiders. So they've been through a number of areas as a franchise, LA, Oakland, part of LA, and now Las Vegas. But that is a team. So it was the Pittsburgh Predators who were the wrong ones because they are, in fact, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Pittsburgh Predators were the ones who were not an official NFL team. The surname of the famous baseball player was Ruth. He was Babe Ruth, R-U-T-H. Hopefully a lot of people knew that. Just quite a famous character if you name any kind of baseball player Babe Ruth would probably be right up there. NASCAR. Now, okay, 1 point for every 2 words. It doesn't matter where you got the 2 words. If you get 2 words right, you get a point. National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. Okay, and if anybody knew that and you got 3 points, what a bonus. Well done, you. And question 5, the signature celebration, the silencer, is LeBron James. Worth seeing. He's got kind of apparently 15 different signature finishes, including the tomahawk, kind of one of the most famous kind of dunking moves that isn't, I think, only his, but lots of other people use too. But it's one of the moves he uses. But the silencer is his signature celebration move, apparently so. Okay, so final scores on the doors out of, I said let's call it 30, even if it's out of 31. Who wins this week? Who do we give the laurels to? Do we get half a mark for 1 word right? Yes, Tessa. Yeah. If you got national, I'll give you 18. Good score, Nelson, over half. Kia, you didn't get 4 overall. What'd you get overall? So Kia was on Parents Were Helping every now and again. What was she on? What's your total, Kia? Gemma, 19. Good score. Mr. Crayhall, 19 and a half, beating those students down into the relegation spots. So Mr. Crayhall beat Gemma and Nelson, but very close. The Milnes family, 20 and a half, really good scores. To get north of 20 is good. The Barkers, 22 and a half. That's very good. Fitzgerald's 18 and a half. These are good scores. So the Barkers are in front. Fergus, 20. Kia got 18 in total. Ms. Williams got 6 in this round. Pulled in the reinforcement, she said. So 18. Well done, Anne. That's a good score. Either that or the boys got involved or they all did. So so where are our winners? Am I right in saying it's the Barkers on 22 and a half? Anybody in advance of that? I think they were leading anyway. So guys, that's fantastic. Congratulations. Like I say, really good scores in there. Everybody getting kind of north of 15, which was brilliant. Thank you for participating. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for kind of helping me out with the answers, particularly NBA basketball. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I've taken up far too much of your time as ever, but it's really great to be with you and to share. Tessa, 15 and a half. Well done, Tessa. Brilliant. Kind of sterling work. Just getting north of that halfway point. That's really great to start. And well, you're very welcome, Fitzgerald. It's a pleasure. It's something kind of breaks up my day and feels a little bit like teaching. So even if I'd rather be doing that, maybe keep this going, and even after we finish lockdown. You're very welcome, Nelson and Gemma. I'm not sure what next week's theme is. I'm thinking about going back to movies or music, but I'll let you know. I'll try and think of something that's encapsulating and fun. So we've done Disney, we've done sport. Let's see where we go. I'll know by Monday. So watch the Monday morning Hello video, and we'll see where we get to. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's just turned a bit dark outside, so I hope that's not signs of another thunderstorm. Hopefully it'll brighten up. Have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Headmaster out.